Hey guys, Damon here. So today I'm going to show you how to rebuild a Scuba Pro Air 2. The third and fourth generations are very similar, so they should work. Instructions should work for both. I don't condone rebuilding your own scuba rigs. I recommend going to a professional. However, I'm just going to show you how they do it, and if you want to try it on your own. So first things first is you're going to want to get one of these. This is a annotated diagram of what O-rings to use, and if you click below I can show you where to get them. So you're going to need a -10. So once you get to the McMaster Car website, you'll understand what these mean. You'll need a package of -10s, which go right here. -17, -006, -008, again -10s, -10s, and -10s. So it looks like that is all. So -10s, I'm sorry, 109s here, -008s, -006, -17s, and a -10. Okay, so other than the O-rings, you're going to need a couple of tools. One, a flathead screwdriver or a butter knife. They work pretty good. You're going to need one of these. These are going to be a little spanner wrench, or some people use these for closed-in C-clips. I've got two different kinds here. We're going to play with them. You're going to need a pick. I recommend not to use a metal pick like this, but a plastic pick. I'll show you in just a minute. This is a 1/4-inch nut driver. This is specially made for working on scuba rigs or anything like that. However, just a regular 1/4-inch nut driver is going to work. And then a pair of pliers. So here we get started. So I bought this one on eBay. It was like 80 bucks or something like that. And it looks like it's been into before, because as you can see, this pin is gone. Sometimes these pins will just degrade over time. So I highly recommend, if you're going to rebuild a bunch of Scuba Pro gear, to get the Scuba Pro gear tool. It's about 100 bucks. But if you don't want to spend that, or you just want to play around, just one of these little things right here will work. So here, push it in here. You're going to twist out. This one's been a while since it's been in too, so it gets kind of stuck. But sorry, so if you've got the pin in there before you start to unscrew this, what you'll do is you'll get underneath that pin, the plastic pin, and pull it up, either with a blade or a pick or something like that. So unscrew this top, set it off to the side. Here's this. So I just recommend putting everything together off to the side the way you pull it out. So here, plastic ring, of course, put it on top of there. And these little diaphragms are very soft. So if they are stuck, just take your plastic pick, which, let me show you the plastic pick I'm talking about. So here's a plastic pick. This is actually a brand of dragger. So a little plastic pick. What you'll do is, if this thing is stuck, so you try to pull up on it and it's stuck, which this one is, just take and gently go around the outside of this to get that up there. Okay, just like that. So I got some more light here. So if you look here, you can just kind of get around this little plastic silicone diaphragm, and just work your way around it. Take your time, guys. As long as these things are still soft, they last a long time. So another thing I didn't add is you just want a cup of warm water and a splash of vinegar, just to kind of clean some of this stuff up. And this thing looks fairly clean. So this, I just put in just your regular water. Okay. Just to kind of let that dissolve some of the salt. Just put it on there. Just let it sit. Okay. So on the inside here, what you'll do is you go to the back side here, and this little clip can be, I think you're supposed to turn it around and get it so it doesn't come off. But if it's spun around here, you're going to want to spin it out around here. So as you can see here, that's how it looks. Get on in between there. Pry that thing out. Okay. And then, as you can see, all you do is push on this here, push vertical up toward the purge button or the diaphragm, and it comes out. So let's look at this. As you can see, this one's pretty clean. I bet this thing was rebuilt and maybe put in the water 1 time or 2 times, and it's just been sitting there. So this looks pretty good, but as you can see, the O-rings are a little deformed there. So this has been sitting there for a long time like that, and there's a little bit of corrosion on there. So I'm just gonna let it soak in my warm water and a splash of vinegar just to kind of get all that stuff off. Okay, so here's the housing. This is where the spanner wrench kind of gets into. So you just want to stick this on there. It's not on there difficult. Don't push down too hard. But as you can see, that thing comes off. You probably could just use your fingers on these. It's just plastic on plastic. So try to keep everything separate, as I said. So this goes with the thing that's soaking right now. So here, make sure that this little diaphragm here, this is where your exhaust gas goes. Make sure it's not stuck on there, and there's no salt in there. It might have been used in fresh water, but you can see little clips inside there just like that. That's where this little tool here comes in handy. So you're just gonna stick it in there, kind of pry off to the side there. If you can't get it there, you can use the spanner wrench on the bigger pieces under here. You see that? So you could take the spanner wrench and stick in there, but most of the time those are not on there incredibly hard. Again, that's not pressurized there, so you don't have to worry about that being tight. So unscrew this. Now to unscrew that, just keep pulling it out. Make sure it's flat. If it gets cockeyed, it's gonna get cross-threaded, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt to get out of there. So flip that over. Try to keep everything together, okay? Right there is what you need the nut driver for. So right there, that's to get this one off. So this is how you purge your BC, or you can push this to inflate it by air, by your mouth. Apologize. So again, this is not on there real tight. Be cognizant of how tight it is on there. So it doesn't take a lot. Again, you're not gonna push that, but probably 100 times in the life of this thing. So you've got a 1/4-inch nut comes there, and then you've also got a washer on top of there. So as you let go of that purge button, that deflate button, it's gonna slide out of there. Try not to lose that washer. So this just goes out of the top of the purge button. See that washer's coming off there? Just kind of put that washer back where it belongs. Pull this deflate button out. And as you can see, there's an O-ring there. And again, it's not super dirty. Honestly, it just looks like it's got a lot of crystal lube in there. You got a little washer there and everything, but I recommend just putting everything just kind of back the way it came out. Of course, you can always go back to the big video to see how yours comes out, but I just make this a standard operating procedure to put everything kind of back the way it goes, just to kind of keep everything nice and clean. Okay, now then you got your inflate button here. So again, you can use this tool right here or that special Scuba Pro tool. Okay, just get it loose. So spin that out. Okay, a little bit of crap on the side there, but nothing crazy. You've got an O-ring right here, which we'll go over together whenever I replace that. So, screwdriver, this is the inflate button. This one actually has some pressure behind it, so this one's going to be a little stiffer. But again, nothing crazy. I think the manual that I've got online actually has the torque specs. As you start to get that off, you've got a spring on this, got a plastic washer. Okay, there's that. Turn it upside down, and there you go. So again, kind of get everything together. Get everything put back together. There you go. Here's the housing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this soak for a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 minutes in some warm water with some vinegar in it, and then I'll take a toothbrush. So an old toothbrush or whatever the dentist gives you, just take that and we're going to clean it up. All right. All right. So this wasn't bad. So I didn't really soak it. I just kind of got it wet. I'm going to take a toothbrush, kind of clean up some spots here. But again, like I said, this is a very clean rag. I was very fortunate to get this. So as you clean this, of course, we're going to get that O-ring out in just a minute. Clean up the threads. And this has got a vinegar solution in it, so you're not going to leave this vinegar solution on there. Okay. Right in there, there's some extra crystal lube. So that's another thing you're going to need to buy is some crystal lube. You don't need a bunch of it. I'll show you just a little dab of everything. Really, people just douse these things with crystal lube, and it's just not needed. So I've got my fresh water here. All right, so like I was saying, I just cleaned this up. I just rinsed it off. My container was not big enough, so I just rinsed it off in the sink. Here's this. As I said, there's not a lot in there. I'm just gonna take my toothbrush and kind of get some of this corrosion off there. I'll make another video later of how I re-nickel plate some of this stuff. It's not needed for this one, of course. As you can tell, it looks pretty clean, but nothing crazy. All right, so the air barrel is going to be last here. So what you'll do is you'll just grab your crescent wrench or your Scuba Pro wrench, and it's not on there tight. Shouldn't be on there tight, but unscrew this here. So as you can see, it just separates right here. So should come off fairly simple here. And then you've got your plastic seat, which is next. Here's your plastic seat, and it's best to get your plastic seat. And then right in there, you've got your poppet style seat in there. So, okay. And this comes out. So if you don't buy the rebuild kit, you won't get a replacement of these. If you need a replacement of these, you're gonna have to buy the rebuild kit, which is still cheaper than taking it in to get it done somewhere else, and you know it's done well. So here's these parts. To get this off, what you'll do is you'll just pull this down, okay? So here's how it is set up, okay? So the flat side here, right here. As you can see, the flat side is on toward the camera and it curves this way, okay? So remember that. Flat side, curve to the right. So pull this down, unscrew this. Okay, make sure you hold everything together. Okay, so you got your lever, you got your washer, you got your nylon nut washer, you've got your neoprene spacer, which is disgusting. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so this is pretty dirty in there. I'm just going to take a toothbrush and kind of clean this up. Okay, I'm going to clean all this stuff off camera. I'm sure you guys know how to clean. All right, so I've kind of cleaned everything up here. I've got my diagram out just so I make sure I get the right O-rings, okay? And I just kind of cleaned everything up. I missed a little spot right here, but okay. So what's great about these are similar to the old Scuba Pro regs, the Mark IIs and such, that you can reuse these seats one time. So as you can see, there's a pretty heavy indent on there, okay? So be careful with your pick, okay? I'm just gonna use a metal pick on this one, but I recommend using the plastic one, especially if you've never done this before. Stick it on the side, kind of work your way underneath it. Okay. Be as gentle as you can. Sorry, I gotta get closer. And then work it up, and there we go. So as you can see, this side's got an indentation on it. Should not have wore black gloves, should I? And then you flip it over and that thing is brand new. So as long as you just want to do it once, you can reuse those. Also, I know on scuba.com, the forum, they actually have you can actually buy that rubber from McMaster Carr and cut your own with a little hole saw or a hole punch. You can do that. But again, if you just buy one seat like that, then you're good to go. Okay, so we're gonna pull this apart. There's a little bit of crystal lube on there, nothing crazy. So especially with the nylon here, I'm gonna use the plastic pick, pull this off. I do the O-ring as soon as I take it off, okay? Now some people are a little haphazard with it. They take them all off and throw them away and then they replace them. But okay, so this is one O-ring. I'm going to set it over here. If you go to your manual that you've got, it's actually in -10. So I'm going to go down here to my box. Get me one -10. Get one -10 out of my bag. Of course, you can see how many times you can rebuild this and multiple other Scuba Pro regs with one bag of -10s from McMaster Carr. Okay, so work that on. Of course, you can see the difference of a new O-ring and an old O-ring. The old O-ring here is flat or deformed, and this new one's very round, very prominent. Okay, so like I said, you need a little bit of crystal lube, okay, or Krytox, either way. So as long as it is made for O-rings. So all you do, don't put a lot on there, please, people. Okay, take a little dab, glisten, okay, stick it around the outside. The more you have on there, the more dirt it traps. Okay, nothing crazy. Okay, here we go. One of the reasons why I wear gloves is you don't want to get a bunch of dirt in there and oil. And does it matter? Of course not. If you go to the dive shop, they're going to be outside smoking a cigarette and they're going to walk inside and replace your O-rings and they don't care. All right, so these are pretty difficult to get on and out. They actually sell a special tool to get these on. But if you're just diligent, it's not that bad at all. Okay. Okay, you go to your diagram. These are -109s. Okay, these actually look pretty good. So I'm gonna set that one aside. I got one more. So anything where there's chrome or anything like that, I try to use the plastic one more than not. So plastic pick, So get that thing moved around. Okay. So one little trick I've got that I've learned over the past is if you've got a scuba rig that all the chrome is off of it, or 90% of the chrome is off of it, and you're worried that you're going to have corrosion on there, that's true. If you just put a thin layer of crystal lube on there, it's actually going to prevent that corrosion from building up. And this one looks pretty good. There's a couple of spots here I might put on there, but that's actually where the hose attaches to. You know, trick of the trade, if you take this one off, take this one and put there, and you're remembering that this one is old, it's easier to get that one on there. Let me show you why. So I'm gonna grab my Dash 109s here. Okay, and I need 2 of these O-rings. And these are a 70 Dura. So you're gonna see Dura on there. Dura is a measure of hardness, okay? So I think I might actually, yep, I've got 70 Dura here, and it calls for 70 Dura, okay? So as you can see, these are kind of hard to get on. Just work your way down, but it gets stuck in every single little crevice. Now watch this. So if I didn't have that O-ring already in that spot, whenever I go to bring this O-ring past it, it would get stuck there, but it doesn't, because you got your old O-ring still right there. Now they got a special little tool that you can buy. It's plastic, it goes over this, and you can just slide it right over, and that's fantastic. If you want to save an extra 2 minutes, you go out there and buy that $20 tool. But for me, that I'm going to do this once every year, or once every 2 years, or every time I buy a new one, I'm not worried about it. Okay, now I've changed this one. You see how easy that was to get on there? If you take this one off, it's going to get stuck there. Now you can take them both off, put the first one there and that one there. It doesn't really matter. But make sure that you put this one on before you try to get to that one. It makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, I'm grabbing my other 109 here, Dash 109. And there you go. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3 O-rings that you've changed, and I'm gonna put crystal lube on this in just a moment. Not yet. Okay, now then you've got the top part here, which has been soaking for a minute, and my vinegar water, I'm gonna rinse it off in fresh water here. Make sure it's nice and clean, no crystal lube left. Okay, so to put this all together, make sure you put it back exactly the way you had it. So make sure your spring's nice and clean. Okay. Okay, so spring goes on top, and you see I've got a little bit of corrosion there. I'm actually gonna put a little crystal lube on there. I can show you guys how to nickel plate stuff, but that's not enough to do right now. So tiny little bit of crystal lube on there. Again, not coated well. Okay, so spring, put that on top there. I'm gonna put this on there. You're gonna screw this on. Nice and slow. Make sure it's not getting stuck on there. Okay. Nylon washer goes down. Okay, what you're gonna do is, it's kind of stuck right now. You're gonna take your 4mm Allen wrench. You're going to twist that clockwise, and as you see clockwise, it'll push that nut upward, or that bolt upwards. Okay, pushed it all the way up. Now then, I can screw that in the rest of the way. Nothing crazy, okay? We're gonna unscrew this a little bit. Okay, as you can see, this has a square hole for this square piece right here. You're gonna put it on there square, and hopefully turn it. If not, you're just going to use your Allen wrench and turn it so it's square. Okay, and I love when things don't go exactly your way on the video, so I can show you guys what to do. So here, take these little tools, stick in there, twist it just a little bit. Don't mess up the threads. Let's see if we got it now. A little bit of finagling. And there you go. Okay, it goes here. You got your stainless washer. Okay, top goes up. Curve goes that way. Okay, get it started. Okay, so it goes here. We got the lever, we got the stainless washer, and you got the nylon nut, which you can buy new nylon nuts for pennies on the dollar. Okay. And if you remember about how far it was, when you pull it off there, it was showing about 1.5 threads. So, of course, that's too high because we've got this Allen wrench, this seat, way too far in there. So the trick of the trade is to get this thing, loosen this thing. As you loosen it, you can see that lever go up. You're gonna loosen it until that lever stops. Okay, right there it stops. I'm gonna go 1/2 turn in. Okay, that's just a good way to get it set. Okay, so what you can do is you can test this, of course, whenever you put this in. And look at that, I did it backwards. So there's a little flat spot right here. You try to go in there, and guess what? It's upside down. So Easy fix. Get this thing unscrewed. First, Allen wrench. Tighten it up. You guys probably saw that in the video. Here we go. Get this thing loosened up. You don't have to take it all the way off. Spin this thing around. Just kidding. Okay. Too far. Okay, try again. It's gonna be right there. And there you go. Good to go right there. Okay, so like I said, get this thing where it's supposed to be. Counterclockwise until that lever stops raising. Right there. Half a turn in. Okay, so this thing is ready to assemble. Let's get the rest of this. So we got 3 O-rings over here on the side. Now then we pull, this is the inflate button. So we're gonna get this pulled off of there. So we've got an O-ring inside there, which is our seat. I don't know if you can see that. O-ring. Okay, you've got a nylon washer, you got a spring, and another O-ring. So if we go to our chart, our inflate button has a 006. Two 006s here. Okay, so try to use your nylon pick when you can. Okay. When you can't, get your little dental tool out. And I find that nobody changes these O-rings. This thing is so hard, it is falling apart. This is one of the reasons why I change my own stuff. Because this thing is hard as a rock. This thing has not been changed since this thing was built back in the 90s, early 2000s. I have purchased a G250 online. Said recently rebuilt. Got it home. The O-ring for the Vivo, which again, it's not that important, but if you're in there, why not change it? Was as crusty as Krusty the Clown. Look at this thing. This thing is so old. This thing is cracked all over the place. All right, so high horse soapbox off. Okay, there's a tiny little hole there. Make sure that's all nice and clean. Okay. Next one, everybody changes this one. So this one's actually pretty nice, pretty clean. So let's get this thing off there. Of course, you can see how this one just kind of comes apart. I'm sorry, it just kind of comes off there. These small ones are a little bit more difficult. Take your time. Remember, you're saving a bunch of money. What's great about old O-rings, you get your little metal pick in there. You pull, it either comes off or it breaks. As long as you got replacements, who cares? All right, so there we go. Got that one off there, and then you can see the difference. The one on the left is the one that's been replaced. The one on the right, you can see there's just all this cracking going on. You might not be able to see it in the camera, but all right. So 006 70 Dura, 006 70 Dura. So get your 006s out. Okay, so take the spring, clean it off. Okay, this one actually looks pretty good. So the spring, this washer's got a little crap on it. Rinse it off. Okay, nice and clean. There's that. You got your new O-ring. Slip that right in there. Nice and pretty. Okay. Okay, so we can start putting this one in. So you've got your nylon washer. You've got your O-ring on there. Let's put a little crystal lube on there. Nothing crazy. Okay. Get your special little nut on the back. Grab your screwdriver, hold that thing in there. This one's under pretty hard tension. Do not cross thread this thing. Okay, there's a special tool so you don't cross thread it, but just don't be dumb. Don't cross thread it. Okay. Again, kind of remember, this one is a little bit tighter than the other, but here, push it down. Okay, now then you've got another O-ring right there. which is a 017. So plastic housing, please use your nylon plastic O-ring or your O-ring grabber pick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 O-rings down. And this is a -17. Okay, crystal lube on the side here. All right, make sure this is nice and clean. Looks beautiful. Okay, now this is gonna twist on there. So just put a tiny little bit up here. Probably not needed, but anytime I'm twisting something onto an O-ring, I like to just add a tiny little bit of lube on there. Okay, twist, 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 twist. Very fancy tool. Little OCD. Okay, so one thing I did not mention is there is a little rubber washer right here. As you can see it move. Pull this out and make sure it's nice and clean. You don't have to do anything with it. Okay. All right, next. This is your deflate button or mouth inflate button. Okay, again, this is not in standard kits. This is not a replacement item. So unscrew your quarter nut. That is not a lock nut, so it is not included in the kit anyway. Make sure there's no tears or anything like that. Again, this is not under pressure. So this has got way too much crystal lube on it. Okay. So this is a 008 O-ring or a -8. Okay, so again, remember, stainless spring, too much crystal lube. Okay, so get your -8 out while that thing soaks. Okay, here's my -8, which I think I've got a 90 Dura, and it calls for an 85 Dura. So 5 Dura is not gonna matter here. If it does, I apologize, but I haven't had any problems at it. Okay, so this is my -8. Okay, this has been soaking 30 seconds or so. And again, this thing is not terribly dirty. I pulled some apart and they've got sand and salt in them so bad. I let them soak and run in the ultrasonic cleaner, but this thing looks marvelous. Again, I think this was rebuilt. And then just sat there. Okay, so okay. Okay, I put a little bit on there right there, and I'm just going to put a little bit more on the top. Okay, it slides right down in there. This one's not under as much spring tension as the other one was. Okay, so as you know, this side goes down, this side goes up. You're gonna push that valve all the way closed there. I'm going to take your washer. Sometimes you can imprint it onto your finger to get it on there a little bit easier. Same thing with the nut. So imprint just kind of stays there. 1/4 inch nut driver. Okay, nothing crazy. All right, so you've got your rubber washer right there. Put a dab, no, tiny little bit. Okay, so this thing is cleaned. Forgot about that guy. Okay, purge diaphragm is just dirty. Okay. Okay, as you remember, it goes down like this. Please do not cross thread this thing. The less threads there are, the larger diameter, the easier it is to cross thread. Use 2 fingers, 180 degrees from each other. Okay. Very expensive tool. Get that tight. Okay, make sure this is nice and clean. I've already cleaned that part, I just forgot the diaphragm. So here we are. Of course, my OCD is not going to pan out on this one. Nothing crazy. Okay. We're almost there, guys. So, take this, put a little crystal lube on it. Okay, as you can see, I put a little extra down here. I just want to get some right there where that corrosion is. Okay. There's no moving parts here, so you can have a little extra and it's not really that big of a deal. Okay. That's a little soft, but we're going to get to that in just a moment. All right, so to get this thing in there, you're going to point the flat side towards the buttons. Okay, the lever there. And push. Okay, there's that. Here's your handy dandy little lock. Okay, and this is the wrong tool for the job. I'm gonna be using needle nose pliers. Okay, there's that. What you'll do is you'll take your screwdriver, do it the correct way, which is get it all the way on there. Okay, and then you're going to spin this thing till it locks right there. There's a little pin right there and you want it pushed right there. All right, so that's a little too low. You're going to grab your Allen wrench, which I highly recommend taking this Allen wrench with you counterclockwise until I feel it stop raising. That may be too high. I'm all the way up and it still raises. So the trick is back that out just a little bit. So I'm going to tighten that up just a little bit. So that lever is all the way up. That's all the way up. And I've got another quarter of a turn that doesn't move. Maybe a half a turn. Okay. Now then you're going to grab your scuba tank, put your first stage on there, test everything out. Okay, we got an air lake, which of course is what we're looking for. Okay, and if you go to the manual, it tells you clockwise reduces the distance between the orifice and the pocket seal. So we're going to do counterclockwise, and we are all the way counterclockwise. So what we've got to do is tighten this up a little bit. I'm actually going to do a little bit more. Then we'll do clockwise. That's about it. Okay. So now you know why I didn't put that on there. Put the purge button on there all the way. Okay. So right there. So that is one turn. 2 turns with the Allen wrench. Okay, and I'm going to loosen this. I'm going to tighten it up a little bit, just a little closer. Okay, so that's 1 turn. One full turn of the Allen wrench, and I am going to get this thing just so it barely leaks, or doesn't leak, with 1 turn out. Because as it depresses on that seat, it will start to free flow. So just going to tighten this thing up. That's pretty close to a free flow right there. All right, so almost free flow. Put the rest of it on. So we've got the diaphragm. Okay, that S does not matter. You've got the plastic or neoprene washer. This hole lines up with this hole right there. Hold that together. Put that on there. Make sure it's square. Tighten this thing up until you find the hole, matches the hole. Okay, hole matches the hole. Scuba Pro is right there. Okay, put this on there. Okay. Okay, now then, okay, so I counterclockwise until it started free flowing. Okay, so here we go. Here's a quarter of a turn, so from here to there is a quarter. No free flow. Pump that 20 times or so. Breathe it. Sounds good. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to grab here. You're going to put in your mouth. You're going to hold down on the deflate button and the purge button to make sure that it comes out of here. Okay, so if you press this all the way down, it'll purge into your mouth only, which it does. If you go halfway, it'll actually fill up back here. Okay, and there you go. There you have it. So I know this is a long video. I'm going to try to cut it down a little bit, but it's how you rebuild a Scuba Pro Air 2 at least one time without buying a rebuild kit, or you can buy the seats online and rebuild it yourself as many times as you want. So if you have any questions, hit the comments below, like and subscribe. Till next time, have a good day.